is dead. The wickedest witch there ever was, an enemy to all of us here in Oz, is dead. Good news! Good news!
Hey, look! It's Glinda! Hello there. It's nice to see me, isn't it? No need to answer. That was rhetorical. My name is Jaden, and welcome back to Jeff Goldblum's Giant Shiny Head.
Great and terrible.
So, you know the movie Wizard of Oz? The big one? Like the one that was a big deal in the 30s? The movie where the girl is in the sepia tone and then swoosh, bam! Now she's in Technicolor. But oh no, she killed Mavis from Hotel Transylvania with their house. But that's not possible. She's a vampire. Then the girl from the bubble puts Mavis's shoes on the girl. Then a bunch of hobbits show up and sing about the dead lady. Then a green lady shows up and threatens the girl and her dog, Toto. Then the girl meets a scarecrow who's just looking for some brain.
You're going to see a wizard? Mm-hmm. Do you think if I went with you, this wizard would give me some brains?
Then a zesty Tin Man.
Perfect. Bang on my chest if you think I'm perfect. Go ahead, bang on it.
And then a freaking lion. But the funny part is that the lion's scared. They die in asbestos and go to Greenland. And then they're green and the town's green and the sky's fluffy gloves that I really want are green. And then they meet the wizard who, you guessed it, is green.
I am Oz, the great and powerful. I want to go home.
But oh no, they can't get what they want because... also, the girl just wants to go home. That's why she's doing all of this. But she can't do that till they bring the wizard. Remember the witch from the floor? That one? The wizard wants a broomstick. For some reason. But if you would take a gander, the witch is green! Then Zach Braff Monkey attacks a girl and friends.
Because I'm a monkey, I must love bananas.
Then the Tin Man gets gibbied. Then Zach Braff Monkey steals the girl. She starts crying. Then the Green Witch wants the shoes. Then the Scarecrow makes her wet. Then she friggin' dies. Then ding ding dong, the witch is dead. Then they go back to Finland. And the wizard is not green, but a white man who sucks and gives Chewie a medal. Then ba 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 ba. The lady in the bubble with the crown comes down, and the girl clicks her heels and goes home. And it was all a dream. And he was there, and he was there, and he was there. You know, that movie? Well, in the 90s, there's this guy named Gregory Maguire who was like, what if it wasn't all a dream and Dorothy got transferred to a different world, like entirely, and it was a cool magic world with people called Twinkies and like puppets doing things. And then someone saw the book and was like, what if we made this for like people to enjoy? And then the musical came out. Yeah, today we're not talking about Wizard of Oz. We're talking about Wicked! 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 I've seen Wicked twice. I saw it at the Pantages in Hollywood when I was like 7, and then I saw it a couple years ago on Broadway at the Gershwin. I've only seen one show on Broadway. It was Wicked. I was mad because I wanted to see Phantom, but it was Wicked. And then I remember Act 1 was stupendous. It was a gorgeous set design. The dragon was really cool. Even when I saw it at the Pantages, so I fell asleep during the one song I wanted to see. There was a dragon, and it was cool, and there were like gears and stuff all over the walls. It wasn't like very magical, but it was very like steampunky, and it was like very otherworldly. It was really, really cool. And then when I saw it on Broadway, I was like, whoa. It was cool. Like the flying monkeys jumping out and like lifting up the map and stuff. But the one reason I was like trying to hype myself up for was that when I saw it at the Pantages, the one song I wanted to see, Defying Gravity, I fell asleep and nobody woke me up. Y'all went for my birthday and you didn't wake me up for Defying Gravity. I woke up at intermission, like 2 minutes intermission. Like what? Anyway, I was hyped up for Defying Gravity to see it on Broadway, and then I saw it, and it was spectacular. But you know what happens before Defying Gravity? An hour of things and just stuff that I had no clue about, that I kind of got sick of really quickly. Now, looking back, I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. Like, Popular's a really fun song. I really like Dancing Through Life now. When I saw it on Broadway, I was really annoyed because every song was like 7 minutes long. And then, oh my gosh, Dancing Through Life is so long. Like, it's like 5 minutes on the soundtrack. It's like 15 in real life. It's absolutely obnoxious because you think it's going to stop. And then it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going. And then Defying Gravity, it's the same thing with that. Though Defying Gravity has the big payoff, it takes like 8,000 minutes to get to just the attic scene. And it's like, bah. And the way they transition into it is so jarring because it's like, I hope you're happy. Bah, I hope you're happy now. But anyway, I FW Wicked, Act 1. And then I saw Defying Gravity. She goes up in the air. My eyes were watering, like pupils dilated, like I was a little rodent. I was a little dog going, whoa! I was like, what? And I was cheering because it was like the big moment. It's probably one of the most iconic moments in all of Broadway history. And then the lights go down, and then the lights in the house lights come up. And then I went out to the lobby. I spent $100. I think $100 flat on merchandising. None of that merchandising I have on me right now. But I spent $100 on merchandising, and then I'm really excited. I think I even got like a Reese's Pieces and bought a $4 water bottle. I'll drink to that. And then Act 2 started. And we're going to get into that. But I think one of the most common issues that people have with Wicked is that the Act 1 writing is a lot stronger than Act 2. And I completely agree. Friendships were lost over this ongoing debate about Wicked because everyone was like, oh, it's so cool. And I was like, no, they're ruining The Wizard of Oz. And then people are like, well, if it's ruining The Wizard of Oz for you, then don't watch it. And I'm like, no, I want it to be good. Like, I like Wicked. I like it. I want this stuff to be good. And the funny part is that it is good. It's not bad. It is probably my favorite set for, like, any musical ever. More than the Les Mis Barricades. More than the Phantom Chandelier. Well, the Phantom is really good. But I really, like, I think it has the most immersive theater experience I've ever had. Just why did they have to go the way they did? Okay, so basically, if you didn't know, Wicked is about the Wicked Witch of the West before she was wicked, which means not the James Franco thing. No. Why would you think that? No, basically, there was this girl who was green, and she has a sister in a wheelchair, and her mom is dead, I think. But her dad, like, sent them to college at a place called Shiz University. And then Elphaba's sent there to go take care of her little sister. Elphaba is the name of the witch, by the way. L. Frank Baum, Elphaba. To take care of her little sister, Nessa Rose. Well, then basically the big popular girl shows up. Galinda shows up, and she's like, oh, dear old Shiz. And then there's this guy named Bach who's like, oh, Glinda. Elphaba does some magic stuff and, like, throws Nessa Rose. And then there's this lady named Madame Morble who's like, you, green one, I like you. Someone else will go take care of your sister in the wheelchair. I like you. And you're going to stay in a room with Galinda. And then Elphaba and Galinda are like, I don't like you. You're green. You're blonde. Everyone just hates Elphaba, and it's just racist against Elphaba. And then, let's see. I have the show pulled up on my TV just for some brief pointers. Also, Elphaba, but while I'm doing this, I would just like to say, the show basically opens up with Glinda coming down in a bubble being like, hey, yo. Yeah. Also, Elphaba really wants to meet the wizard. I don't know why. I haven't seen the show in a little bit, but Elphaba wants to meet the wizard, and she sings a whole song about it. But remember that. It's important for later. There's a class scene where her and her goat professor, Dr. Dilliman, the professor's like taking roll, and then he's like, Elphaba, and Elphaba's like, ah! And then he's like, Glinda. And then Glinda's like, it's Galinda. Glinda. And then he goes, Glinda. He can't pronounce it because he's a freaking goat. He's the goat for real, Dr. Dilliman. And then Elphaba goes on a whole rant that's like, but people are different. And then the hot guy shows up. His name's Fiyero. And Glinda really likes him. And Elpha thinks he's a himbo because he almost runs her over. And then, what's it called? He sings a song about dancing through life. That's what Dancing Through Life from earlier. That's what the song is. He takes Glinda and he's like, we're perfect together because we're both hot. And then Glinda gives Elphaba a hat to make her look ugly and scary. It's to make her look like the Wicked Witch. That's where she gets the hat from. And then Bok, B-O-Q, Bok, SpongeBob SquarePants, but we're not to the movie yet. Oh, no. It's like, whoa. Hey, Glinda, can you dance with me? And Glinda's like, no, you're short and ugly. Go dance with the wheelchair girl because she's tragically beautiful. She's very beautiful. Go dance with her. And Bok's like, anything for you. That's a very weird relationship that I don't want to get into because it gets so much worse later on. Anyway, so we're at the ball now. Then everyone's dancing and everybody's hot and then wheelchair bound. And then Elphaba comes up and everyone's like, ew, she's green and has shoulders. And Fiyero makes a comment that's like, she doesn't give a sauerkraut's ass what people think. And Glinda's like, well, she does. She just pretends not to. And it's like, did you forget the rant she had in Dr. Dilliman's class? That was a pretty big telling sign, Glinda. Popular happens after Dancing Through Life, but popular's popular. Glinda, they're friends now, whatever. There's a scene in a class where there's a lion. Then I think the next scene is that there's something bad happening in Oz where Dr. Dilliman starts becoming a goat because people don't like animals in Oz. Act 1's about animal racism, but I didn't really touch on it, mainly because I forgot, but also because it's not really important. There's a scene in a classroom where they're doing experiments on a lion, and then Elphaba's like, no! And then Fiyero's like, a no too! And then Elphaba does a spell, and the whole class dances, and then Fiyero's like, I got the lion, and then they both go to the forest. And they leave this lion in the forest. So now, if you haven't gotten it, this is where the Cowardly Lion comes from. Elphaba and Fiyero have a little moment, and then now they're going to Oz because Madame Morrible's like, hey, Elfie, Elphaba, Elfman, I'm gonna take you to Oz. And Fiyero and Glinda are dating now, so Elphaba's like, but I like Fiyero. And then she goes to Oz anyway. And then there's a weird little scene where Fiero's like, even though he's dating Glinda, in front of Glinda, is like, hey, I think about our moment in the woods a lot. Here's some flowers. Good luck in Oz. And then Glinda goes with Elphaba. Glinda also changes her name to Glinda, not Galinda. I've been saying Glinda almost the whole time. Oz turns out to be a sham, like in the movie. And then Madame Morrible comes out, I think, and is like, hey, use your magic. And so Elphaba uses her magic and sets the flying monkeys free. I should really fact check my information, but if I'm wrong, that's a surprise to you. Because then you can correct me in the comments and I can get engagement so people will watch this. Elphaba turns a flying monkey and then they run away, and then they go to the attic and then Defying Gravity happens and then Elphaba, like Madame Morrible, is like, oh, she's a wicked witch, don't believe what she says. And then the wizard's like, get her, guards, get her. And then so she flies out. And then her and Galinda separate paths forever. And then she goes up and then she's like, and then end of Act 1. Bam! So, like, it's got some pretty good ideas. I think the lion thing is kind of dumb, but, like, you know what? That's not that bad. Then we get to Act 2. Act 2 opens up with a ceremony celebrating, I think, Glinda now being painted as a public figure to boost morale. And Fiyero as the head of the search party for, Fiyero. The search party for Elphaba. And the thing is, I think Fiyero's like down bad for Elphaba right now. And then Glinda and Oz everybody's being manipulated by each other. And then Elphaba's off doing her own thing. This is we're now in the future. I don't know how far out, but we're past that now. Glinda sings a really sad song called I Couldn't Be Happier, and it's really sad, and it's like, poor Glinda, I hope nothing worser happens to her. She loses her best friend. The next scene is probably my least favorite scene in the entire show, and that's between Elphaba, Nessa Rose, and Boq. Boq now is the caretaker for Nessa Rose. I think Nessa Rose is like the mayor of Munchkinland or whatever, or the leader or whatever, and she's the one in the wheelchair, and she has these slippers, and so Elphaba is like, I'm gonna take these slippers, and then the spotlight shines on Ruby light, because it's like, ooh, like in the original movie. And then Nessa Rose can walk now. This helps Nessa Rose walk. But she's like, but Boq. Is Boq gonna leave me now? They have a really weird relationship. And so, instead of like, reasoning with him or letting the guy who doesn't love you for you go, Nessa Rose decides to perform a spell to shrink Boq's heart. Why? And then in order to stop Nessa Rose from shrinking Boq's heart, Elphaba performs a spell to make Boq the Tin Man. Why? It's dumb. And then there's a scene where Elphaba confronts the wizard and Madame Morrible, and then Galinda's comes and is like, but I forgot what she says. I did not pay attention. Anyway, Fiyero shows up and then runs off with Elphaba in front of Glinda, saying, like, basically as a big F you to Glinda. And then Glinda's like stuck all alone and sad now, and she sings the same song that Elphaba did, the I'm Not That Girl, and she does a really low note. And then it goes into a song where Elphaba and Fiyero feel each other up for 2 minutes and then belt in each other's faces. And then she goes, for the first time, I'm feeling wicked. And then they just make out. And then a cyclone happens, and then out of nowhere, Elphaba's like, but Nessa Rose! And then, bam! Dorothy's house shows up. So she runs off, and then Fiyero goes like, in the cyclone. And then the next scene, Dorothy's house is there. There's a scene of Glinda mourning the death of Nessa Rose. Glinda's there, and she's like, bye, bye, bye. And then the yellow brick road is there, and then there's a scene where, like, Glinda picks up a flower and lays it next to a plant. We're in the Wizard of Oz now. The tagline of Wicked is so much happened before Dorothy dropped in. We are in the Wizard of Oz and actively changing the story and canon of this There's a scene of Glinda mourning the death of Nessa Rose. And it's really sad, and it just keeps getting worse for Glinda. Glinda now lost her lover, lost her best friend, and lost her lover to her former best friend. Ooh, also, sorry, not lover, fiance. They were about to get married! And then Elphaba shows up and is like, why did you give that friggin' farm girl my little sister's slippers? And then Glinda's like, well, you have a knack for taking things too. And then they have a little cat fight in the cornfield. Then the guards show up and they're trying to kill Elphaba. Then Fiyero shows up and points a gun at Glinda and is like, I'm gonna kill Glinda if you don't let Elphaba or the Wicked Witch of the West go. And so they let her go. And then the Elphaba flies off into the distance and is like, but doesn't do that. And then Fiyero gets put up in a cornfield by the guards. They stick a stick behind his back and they put him up in a cornfield. Then the next scene is Elphaba in her castle with the flying monkeys performing a spell to not let Fiyero die. To get rid of his flesh, blood, and bone. That's Harry Potter. But to get rid of, like, all of his human stuff. Let him feel no pain. Let him never die. She turns him into the Scarecrow. And the reason that bugs me so much is because the Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz is supposed to be there for, like, I don't know, a long time before Dorothy shows up. To go back, same thing with the Tin Man. The The Tin Woodsman in the original book, the Tin Woodsman is supposed to be a woodsman, not a caretaker for a wheelchair-bound witch. I'm sorry, it's actively changing the canon and just flat out wrong. Fiyero has been there for like 30 minutes when Dorothy shows up. Dorothy's gone when he turned into the Scarecrow. Bach got turned into the Tin Man. I'm sorry, it's just this lazy writing. It's dumb. It really bothers me because it's like, that's the way you decide to go about it. And like, they don't even like let it have room to breathe because the next scene after she turned into the Scarecrow, there's a scene where the Tin Man is rallying the troops in a song called March of the Witch Hunter. She's rallying the troops and it's like, we've never seen the Tin Man rallying the troops, ever. Glinda also uncovers that Madame Morrible might actually be a bad guy after all. Pac-Man's a bad guy? Madame Morrible's a bad guy? And then the Tin Man is like, well, the Wicked Witch told me in Tin Man, yeah, save your life from your freaking crazy girlfriend. And then he says, if they hadn't saved the lion from getting, like, lobotomized, the lion would be strong enough to fight its own battles today. No! That's not how it works. That's not how bravery works. They saved his life. What are you whining about? It's dumb. And then the big melting scene happens. It's really cool and stuff, but it's like, it's dumb. And then you think the show's gonna be over. Glinda's like, boom, Madame Morrible. Get out! Get out! We find out that the wizard is the father of Elphaba because, once again, Elphaba was born out of infidelity with the magical green elixir man. I just found that out. Like, I was like, what happened? Because I remember in the audience, like, hearing that music cue from before, and then hearing people going, oh, and I was like, what? I was also like, ugh. But, what's it called? Where was I? Oh, yes! So then, let's go to the really good scene. Madame Morrible gets arrested, and then there's a really, really good scene where we see the beginning of the show with everybody celebrating the good news, she's dead, behind. And then we see Glinda and her bubble go up, over, and like having, like you see the backside of it. And it's like, what? That's such a good scene. That's a great place to end the show. But then the Scarecrow comes out and bangs on the floor. And it's like, it worked. Then a trapdoor flies open, and Elphaba pops out. And Glinda, mourning the death of Elphaba, alone, stands there watching a crowd of Munchkinlanders cheer on the death of her former best friend, scream about how evil she is. Elphaba and Fiyero run off together. Glinda's left alone. And the part that bugs me is that this was supposed to make Elphaba out as a good guy. Did it though? Because even though Elphaba was an animal activist, she still cheated with Fiyero. Hold on. No, Fiyero still cheated with her. She fully accepted it and didn't, like, feel any pain for it. Like, well, she might have, but, like, she still went along with it. They ran away together. She still did bad things and she didn't get any consequences for it. It's so frustrating to have one of the most iconic movie villains have a story about them, and then when they do bad things, have them not even be justified. There was no justification, in my opinion, for Fiyero and Elphaba to run off together. This might also be just a lack of actually knowing the source material, and I might be yapping on about something that I have no clue about, which is probably the case. I haven't read any of the original books, or this is just me ranting because I want to talk about Wicked, and everybody's sick of me talking about Wicked. My parents even bought me a Wicked book, and they were like, shush now about Wicked. The thing is, the music in Wicked, fantastic. The set design, fantastic. Most of the performances, usually awesome. I do not regret seeing Wicked on Broadway. I will still complain about it, but I really, really, really like Wicked. But there are just little things, primarily in Act 2, that are like, are you kidding me? Not everything needs to be something. At Wicked is like if the Star Wars prequels went from Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, all the way into Return of the Jedi, from Vader's perspective, and then change some stuff around. It doesn't make sense. And the source material, it's either from the movie or it's from the book. And it's like, it's just from 1,000 different places. So it's not even a part of a cohesive canon. I'm going to take a little break because my camera's about to die. But we're going to dive into the movie that's coming out. Because there was like a movie rumored to happen that was like in lingo for a long time, lingo and stuff, production hell for a very long time. And it's coming out next month. I'll be right back. And we're back. So, like we were talking, the break's back. The break's done. So, this is embarrassing. If you couldn't tell by my channel, recently I've been kind of, like, obsessed with Wicked a little bit. It's my current, like, little mini hyperfixation. And the funny part about that was, like, because, as you can tell by my earlier rants, I was a D1 Wicked hater. Wicked was my number one top op. And then the movie came out, and then when I first saw the trailer for the Super Bowl, I was like, man, this looks like it's gonna stink. Funny thing, I saw a second trailer, and it's like, it put the Wicked Witch of the West theme in there, and I was like, somebody cooked here. The movie star Cynthia Erivo, who played the Blue Fairy in Pinocchio. She's good at singing. From what I've seen, I think she's made some interesting acting choices, but I think she's going to do a good job. She's not going to do a bad job. That's all I can say. I'm pretty sure she's not going to do a bad job. And then we get the big one that kind of blew my mind was Ariana Grande. I knew that she was probably going to end up playing Glinda. I think Dove Cameron would have been like not a better pick, but a different pick and probably a more traditional pick. But I think Ariana Grande, the thing with Ariana Grande is that she's talented. And she's one of the singers where it's like her name's so big where it's like, oh my God, she's like actually really good. Like with Jurassic Park. Like that movie. No, not Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is a good movie. That's a good example. Back to the Future. Back to the Future is one of those iconic movies where it's like, it's Back to the Future. Everybody loves it. But then you watch it and it's like, oh my God, this is a good movie. That's kind of like how Ariana Grande is. Ariana Grande is probably one of the most talented vocalists I've ever heard. And especially because I've been diving into singing more recently, it's like, whoa! If you couldn't tell by my recent videos, if you haven't watched them, you're a fake fan. But I've been covering stuff because I'm singer now. I'm working late because I'm a singer. I'm really excited. I'm more excited for the soundtrack to come out than the movie. I really want to hear their renditions of the song. I want to hear the full Defying Gravity. I want to hear Noah Mourns the Wicked. I want it. But the funny part is, that's the one thing I'm excited for. And a part of the reason why that's the thing I'm strongest excited for is because the movie is being split into two parts. I feel like that's pretty set in stone. But it's one part. Okay, so one part for each act. And the first movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. Only covering the first act of the musical, which is only like act one. It is longer than the full show itself. Which apparently some people that saw it said like, oh, it adds a bunch of context. But the thing is like, it's based on this book. And I think that they're probably going to add some stuff in the book. But the thing is, there are like puppet orgies in the book. So I don't know if that's going to be in the music or the movie. But because the movie's PG, I definitely think they're going to have enough stuff to add. But like they're adding a whole like other movie into this movie. So I have a feeling that musical numbers are going to be extended way too long. And I have a feeling that there's going to be some stuff that's going to be like, there's going to be at least 10 minutes that they could have cut. That's my prediction. But based on the trailers, I don't think it's going to be bad. I think there's no way that it's going to be awful. But there is a world where it's going to be fine. Like, not spectacular, but not terrible. And I have a feeling that we might be living in that world, but there's no real way to see because the only people that saw it were, like, big fans or people affiliated with the movie or who saw the movie. So it's like, half of it is like, I can't tell if it's going to be like, whoa! Spectacular, blowing my mind. I don't think there's really going to be anything other than that, other than like, ooh, I'm glad they added that. This is a good change. I definitely think there's going to be some interesting changes, especially with how much they're going to incorporate from Wizard of Oz itself and whether they're going to do it from the book or the original movie, because the original movie is probably the more iconic thing. It's probably going to get more butts and seats, but like, you're playing with the fandom right now, so yeah. And especially with Act 2 being the primary basis for Part 2, I have a feeling that it's going to be very lacking. I don't feel like it's going to be an incomplete movie because, in my opinion, Wicked ends at Defying Gravity. You can end Wicked at Defying Gravity. You will be completely satisfied with that. Other than Glinda's character arc, which is obnoxiously sad, you can get everything that you need to out of Defying Gravity. Not Defying Gravity, but out of the first act. That's the entire story. That's the Star Wars prequel trilogy. The prequel trilogy ends with him becoming Vader. It goes a little bit past that, but it's like, it doesn't bleed into the other movies where Wicked does that. And I think that I don't think it's going to work. But I do, like, I have faith, I have hope, but I'm still like, you know what I mean? Like, it looks good. Like, it has every piece to be good. And I think I'm definitely going to enjoy it. I'm going to have a good time. I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to make me be like, it's not going to be Dial of Destiny bad. But I definitely think that there's going to be something that's going to be like, But a lot of it is just waiting and seeing. And because there's a bunch of controversy right now, which I don't want to touch on because I have made it a goal right now in life to whip myself out of drama. Because who needs drama? But especially because I haven't really seen any movies that year. I mean, this year I've seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, The Fall Guy, and like a couple other things. But it's like nothing that I've been like actually connected to where I feel like I have to make a video about it because I've been out of the loop of it for so long. But because more so I'm like viewing this from a musical fan perspective than a like movie fan perspective, to where it's like, let's see, am I going in as a Wicked fan or am I going in as a movie fan? Like, you know what I mean? And I because of how much has been going on, I have not had time to even watch movies, to where it's like, we'll see. I've been focusing so much on singing and performing right now, to where it's like, this might be a good, I think it's definitely, I'm going to enjoy it. I think I'm going to enjoy it. But I am scared because I want to know what hour and 40 minutes they've added. Like, huh? How do you do that? But we'll see. I know I was supposed to talk more about the movie, but I'm tired. It's 8:30 p.m. I've had a long day. I've already been up for like 14 hours. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great rest of your night. What do I say? Stay gold, everyone? As I got it. Go defy that gravity. Go dance through life. And go be popular. You'll be popular if you do all those things. Is that how I end the video? I don't remember how this works.